Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Ezleen Batrisyah Binti Aziz, and I'm going to present about one of the financial ethics issues which I find it interesting, and it's called black money scam. We're going to look on what is the black money scam, how it works, and act of consequence. First thing first, have you ever heard about black money scam? Is it a real money? It is a counterfeit money where the suspects claim to have a large amount of US currency smuggled into the country and dyed black to avoid detection by the authorities. Next, we look on how the black money scam works. Based on the electronic sources where I have done my observation, a test has been conducted by the con artists in the UK where these con artists went to the car boot sales. The con artists used the money that have been thrown away from the English mint and painted excess money completely black. They said the English mint sent it to be burned, but they cannot just send it with a bag full of money, so they have to cancel it at first. They covered the money with a thick layer of black pepper, wash it off, and it comes off just like that completely, and it is impossible to be removed. Based on the true account, one victim of this scam was so embarrassed to have lost £20,000 that the documentary agreed to disguise his identity. The police have said that it happens all the time, but he's just one of the rare ones that have actually come forward bringing up his criminal act. He mentioned that all this happened if people are not going to get anything for nothing, and greed fuels everything. It's all about greed. The idea of black money scammers is to tell the people it is impossible to remove the ink from the bills, but scammers has figured out the solution. Most people think it is completely insoluble, but if they apply the black pepper onto special device to the paper and take it off, there you have it, a real note. The root cause for the increasing rate of black money in the country is the lack of strict punishments for the offenders. The criminals pay bribes to the tax authorities to hide their corrupt activities. Thus, they are rarely punished by the judge. Another case related with black money scam reported by the Interpol occurred in Malaysia, where a few con artists forfeiting their identity by having a student visa when they are actually not a student. They sent out random emails and texts promising big piles of cash to random people. The processing fee is usually expected in advance for their goals. The victim has lost substantial sums of money in some of the cases without realizing it before the fraudster goes missing. This con artist did the same thing as the con artist in the UK just now, but convincing other people, so once the people convince, the people will buy for the black money. Victims are told in the black money scam about a cache of banknotes that were dyed black to prevent custom detection. The money was elegantly kept somewhere in a safe, and the victim would buy a form of chemical to wash the dye off, which would then expose a genuine US dollars. The victim would be promised a share of the money by the con artist. The director of the Commercial Crime Investigation Department, Commissioner Datuk Koh Hong Soon, said the conman would produce a small vial of washing liquid called Universal Automatic Washer after achieving their objective, and ask the victim to randomly pick some black banknotes. It would wash the black banknote, but with a sleight of hand. The conman would replace it with a real note. The washed banknotes are issued to victims, and they are encouraged to check their validity at money changer. These con artists are the modus operandi of layering, where each meeting with the victim is sent to another person. Places such as Puchong Prima, a hotel in Ampang, and several areas in Kepong are frequent meeting spots for such transaction. according to the sources. The conmen are also able to forge government documents using laptops along with special tools. Commissioner Koh, who confirmed this said that no textbook but merely computers and laptops were found in raids on the students' home. That means that the laptops and the computers are being used to forfeit the government documents. Investigations also found that this so-called student did not have a special financial aids, but they had no trouble paying their tuition fees and sending money home to their countries. In reality, some of the con artists live in posh condominiums and drive a luxury car such as BMW X5. They are also known to use local women to carry out their deception, targeting single mothers or college students and to conduct their shady business using their bank accounts. As authorities typically lack proof of prosecute them, most of these scam artists are deported to their home countries. However, a number of the con artists returned to Malaysia under various passports. Commissioner Koh said the authorities used biometric system to discourage them from returning as a deterrent against such conmen. But as long as there are Malaysians who are fueled by greed, there will be someone who will take advantage of them, added by Commissioner Koh. Another case is reported on Malaysia but happened to a Singaporean. A Singaporean businessman's greed to make quick money cost him bomb when he was cheated of 252,000 ringgit by a black money syndicate. The businessman, age 54, was introduced to three men from Cameroon and Guatemala by an acquaintance. The three men showed them how pieces of black paper were turned into US currency after they were washed with liquid. They persuaded them to buy the black pepper and a chemical liquid for 252,000 ringgit after showing them genuine US currency notes. The suspects were slick and the businessman did not suspect anything and handed them the cash. After receiving the cash, the three men told the victim to wait in the hotel room while they went to get more black pepper and liquid from their car. 15 minutes later, the victim received a text message from the man saying police were raiding the hotel and asked him to leave immediately. Law said that the businessman came out but did not see any policemen. He then realized he had been cheated. The businessman lodged a report at the Dang Wangi police headquarters. The law also said that the police arrested the three suspects in a raid on an apartment in Ampang on Friday. The police team seized a printer, counterfeit notes worth close to 1 million ringgit and also a type of powder. Law said that the powder was used to give the surface of the fake notes texture. The suspects aged between 35 and 38 have been remanded to assist in the investigation. However, the suspect has had valid travel documents. The accumulation of black money by some dishonest citizens, including the money concealed from tax authorities, hurts the nation's economic development. Cost of tax may be used by the government for public welfare systems such as building schools, colleges, hospitals, highways, and many more. Not only does black money undermine a national economy, but it also widens the income divide by making the wealthy wealthier and the poor poorer. A significant amount of black money often pollutes a national social system and affects the functioning of government institutional adversely. Black money is earned by dishonest means. Generally, people use it to bribe government officials and other relevant agencies in exchange for a certain favor. This corrupts the whole government machinery and reduces people's trust in government and administration. Black money increases the purchasing power of people, which results in higher prices of goods. Next, we move on how the authorities detect these counterfeit banknotes. Interesting, there is an instrument, or we call a detection pen, where counterfeit banknote detection pen is a pen used to apply an iodine-based ink to banknotes in an attempt to determine their authenticity. Black money is received in an unequal way, generally in return for a certain favor. People use it to bribe government officials and other related agencies. This corrupts the entire machinery of government and decreases the confidence of people in government and governance. Black money raises people's buying power, resulting in higher prices for products. As a result of the rise in the price of things, the common man's pocket puts a burden on him, although it hardly affects those with black money. Hence, making the poor wealthier widens the gap between the rich and the poor. I would like to share a few ways on how this black money can be generated. In terms of manipulation accounts, number 1, out of book transactions, not entering transactions that might result in taxation into the book of accounts. The taxpayer either maintains no book of record or reports partial transactions only. Number 2, parallel book of accounts, adopted by those who are obliged under law to maintain books of account. The taxpayer maintains one book of their own use which records all transactions, while another is submitted to concerned authorities reporting part of transactions. Number 3, manipulation of books of account. When taxpayers have to maintain books under different acts like Companies Act, Income Tax Act, it is difficult to maintain multiple parallel books. In that case, they just manipulate the bank account. Number 4, manipulation of sales and receipts. A taxpayer is required to pay taxes on profit or income, which is the difference between sales proceeds or receipts and expenditure. Thus, manipulation of sales or receipts is the easiest method of tax evasion. They might also divert sales to dummy or associated entities. Number 5, underreporting production. Manipulation of production figure may be resorted for the purpose of evading central excise, sales tax or income tax. Number 6, manipulation of expenses. Since the income on which taxes are payable is arrived at after deducting the expenses of the business from the receipts, manipulation of expenses is a commonly adopted method of tax evasion. This means underreporting of income. Number 7, other manipulations. Besides inflation of purchase or raw material costs, expenses like labor charges, entertainment expenses, and commissions can be inflated or falsely booked to reduce profits, generally done through showing wrong bills. Number 8, manipulating by way of international transactions through associate enterprises. Manipulation of profits and taxes payable thereon may involve using associated enterprise in low-tax jurisdictions, through which goods or other material may be passed on. This may lead to accumulation of black money earned from within India to another country, which are typically tax havens. Number 9, manipulation of capital. The capital of the taxpayer reported in the balance sheet is the accumulated wealth which is invested in the form of assets or as working capital of the business. Number 10, Manipulation of closing stock. Separation of closing stock both in terms of quality and value is one of the most common methods of understanding profit. This might include undervaluation of inventory, which means that while the expenses are being accounted for in the books, the value being added is not accounted for, thereby artificially reducing the profits. Number 11. Manipulating of capital expenses. Over invoicing plant and equipment for any capital asset is an approach adopted to claim higher depreciation and thereby reduce the profit of the business. We go on for acts and consequence of black money. First, penalty under Black Money Act related to undisclosed foreign income and assets. The taxpayer holding undisclosed foreign income and asset is liable to pay a penalty which is 3 times the tax computed under Section 10 of the article. As for the conclusion from my observation, growth of the black economy causes regressive distribution of income in the society. When the black money grows faster, rich becomes richer while the poor becomes poorer. By way of concentration of income and wealth in few hands, the black money widens the gap between the rich and the poor.